So let me start with a few things that we have discussed previously. So you all must be knowing that this is a birth chart, and in our last class we have discussed that how it is casted. Yes, if you remember, can you explain that how it is done?
So the first house, the one with the ascendant, we look at what Rashi is rising in the eastern direction at that point of time,
Hmm.
and that's what the first house becomes. So in this case, we can see that in the first house, the eighth Rashi would be rising, which I
Correct.
don't remember which
Yeah,
exactly it is,
eighth
but
Rashi is Scorpio.
so this
Scorpio.
becomes the yeah. So Scorpio, basically, this would become Scorpio Lagan
Correct.
for this particular birth chart.
Absolutely correct. So the time that I've taken is for today, and time is for 10:52 a.m. So there is a little meaning to it. So let us understand. So as I said in the previous class, that that the ascendant, it is the rising sign from the eastern horizon. So this is actually the east sign. Here is what we can say east. So let me. So the eastern horizon, and it is rising from the eastern horizon. So number 8 denotes Scorpio, and Scorpio sign is currently rising at the moment. So at the time, if I've taken 10:52 a.m., then this sign is rising, and just above that is uh, Jupiter and Moon, and just above that is Sun. So let's say if I cast the horoscope at around 12 around noon, so sun would be at just at top of my head. So same thing happens here. Sun will move to this sign, and this Sagittarius 9 number will come here. So this is what is going to happen. So sun will be at top of my head, and again after few minutes later, sun will move to a bit towards west, and it will be at a certain angle. So here what it would be, if I am standing here, sun it would be directly at top of my head. Here sun it as at certain angle. Here if early morning, if my birth is on early morning, sun will be at the eastern horizon exactly, and later on sun will move on to west if I was born somewhere near sunset. So this is the western horizon. So this way you can understand that this is how a horoscope is casted. So let us move to the stellarium software, and let me explain you how it works. So let me delete that. Yeah. So let's say you have seen that sun is in Kanya Rashi or Virgo. So same thing here as well. Sun is in sixth sign, that is Kanya Rashi. Excuse me. So let us make the ground view. And here you can see Scorpio is just rising from the horizon, from the eastern horizon. Scorpio is rising, and so this is my first house, and this would be my 12th house. So the counting starts from somewhere like this. This is my first house. Ascendant or Lagna will be my first house. This will be my second house. This will be my third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th. So, what are the numbers that are denoted here? These actually denote the sign that it is, and the house number is the same. So this will always be the first house. This will always be my second. This will be my third, fourth, fifth, and so on till 12th house. So this is 7 number, and this is Libra. So this is my Libra sign, and this is my 12th house. So first house is rising from, or the ascendant is rising from eastern horizon. 12th house is somewhere here. See, Moon and Jupiter both are in Libra. So this entire part, you can say it is Libra. Actually, till here. So till here it is Libra. And Jupiter has just entered the Libra sign. So you can see Jupiter, the degrees of Jupiter is 2 degrees only. So a sign mainly starts from 0 degree and it goes on to 30 degrees. So Jupiter has just moved in. So actually it was the date of 12th of September. This month only, Jupiter moved from Virgo to Libra, and that is the reason that the degrees of Jupiter is so less at the moment. So this will be my 11th house, this Libra sign. Now this is Virgo. So Virgo sign, this will be my 11th house. So considering this is my 11th house, and this will be my 10th house then. So let's say what is there in my 10th house. So 10th house shows at the moment, sorry, Leo sign, and Leo I have Mercury, Mars, and Venus. So the same thing it is showing. So here you notice that Venus is the most nascent or towards the start of the sign near Magha Nakshatra. So Singh Rashi starts with Magha Nakshatra, and it is very close to Singh Rashi. So as I expected, Venus has the least degree here, followed by Mars. So Venus followed by Mars, then Mercury. So Mars would be having a bit greater degree than that, 17 degree, and then comes Mercury, which is actually towards the end of the sign. So every sign is of 30 degrees and Mercury is of 23 degrees. So it is more or less towards the end of the sign, and within few days it will move to Virgo sign. So this is my 10th house then at the moment, and this will be my ninth house, Karkat or Cancer. So here I have Rahu. So I've explained the concept of Rahu, and that what it is actually, the ecliptic line or ecliptic plane when it cuts the path of moon, the actually the track on which moon revolves around the earth. So that point, that intersection point actually is called Rahu. Actually, when moon travels from the southern part of the ecliptic plane to the north, so that is called Rahu. And this Rahu will be in my ninth house. Now this is my eighth house. Eighth house is coming out to be Mithun Rashi. So this here, and the Rashi which is actually at the moment actually setting towards the western horizon, that is Vrish Rashi or Taurus sign. So Taurus sign is actually setting at the moment. So that comes out to be my seventh house. So if I put the ground off, then you can see Taurus sign is actually setting towards the western horizon, and that comes out to be my seventh sign. So this is how it is: uh, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, then 8th, ninth, 10th, 11th, and 12th. So this is how it is, the entire cycle of all the houses. So the numbers that are mentioned here are actually the signs, and and you have to figure out that this block actually represent first house, this block actually represents second house, and so on. So this thing is also something that you need to understand and memorize. Go. This is mainly the North Indian style. So let us look at some other styles as well in transit part. So okay. So this, so as I said, there is also a South Indian style of casting the horoscope. So have you seen this kind of horoscope or this kind of patterns? So anyone from southern part of India, mainly from Andhra or Tamil Nadu, they must be familiar with this style of casting of horoscope. Okay, so Sitaram, you have seen this. Good. Okay. So how to interpret that and this? So I think the previous chart or the previous style, the North Indian style that I've explained, that how to interpret that, that would be clear to you, correct? And now let's see how to interpret this. So here we have around same thing, same terminology, everything is same. Okay, what is this? So here what happens is, here just as a contrary, let me explain what is actually the difference between the two. So one thing here houses are fixed and rashis keep on moving. For example, after few minutes, my ascendant would change. My first house would change. First house would become Sagittarius. So let's say if I move by some time ahead, no, no, this should not. Okay, let me close this. So if I move ahead of time, let me move. So see at somewhere at around 11:52, the ascendant has changed. It has shifted from Scorpio to Sagittarius, and now Sagittarius has become my first house. Capricorn is my second, Aquarius is my third, and so on. And this is how the cycle goes on. So here in the North Indian style, my first house remains the same, but the sign actually keeps on changing. Okay, but there is a subtle difference between the North Indian casting and the South Indian casting. So let me explain you what is that. So here if you see what happens is, this is my Aries Rashi. So here Rashis are fixed, but ascendant keeps on changing. So this would be my Aries, this would my Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, uh, Tula Rashi or Libra, Scorpio, Vrishchik Rashi, and so on, and keeps on till Mean Rashi. So here you need to memorize that this block represent Mesh Rashi or Aries. This block represent Taurus, and so on. So these things that you need to memorize here. And here what happens is ascendant keeps on moving the block. For example, uh, currently if I consider that the time of birth is 11:52, then my ascendant would move to Sagittarius. And where is Sagittarius here? Sagittarius is here. This block is Sagittarius, and it has been marked like this. So a double marking like this actually represent that it is the ascendant or lagna. So here Sagittarius becomes my lagna. And let me move to my previous timing that I had. So now I have Vrishchik Rashi. So let's say what would my ascendant would be marked. So see the double marking of ascendant is here in Vrishchik Rashi. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 comes as a Vrishchik Rashi, and double marking I have here. So this double marking actually shows that this is my ascendant. And if this is my ascendant, then I have to count starting from here. So this is my first house, second house, fourth house, sorry, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house, so on, and it will come out to be like 11th, 12th, and then again first house. So here houses keeps on changing. So this becomes my first house at the moment. And let's say if I move the time uh, 10 minutes ahead, and then if I check, now this becomes my first house. Sagittarius comes out to be my first house. This is my first, this is second, this is third, fourth, so on, and comes out Saturn in my 12th house. So this is how the cycle is, and this is how it works in this South Indian style. So am I? I hope I'm not feeding you with too much of information at the same time. So if you find it confusing, then please let me know. Or is it clear? So any doubt, anything, please respond. Okay, fine. So Yash, Apurv, anything? Okay. So good that you have got it till now. So let us check some more styles as well. So this was about South Indian style. This is actually Bengali style of casting the horoscope. So what happens here is there it has been mentioned AS. So AS means ascendant or lagna. So here the concept is also the same thing, like South Indian casting of horoscope, that Rashis would remain same, the houses will move. So the first house will move from here to here, then here, but the Rashis would remain same. Let me explain you how it works. So this is my Mesh Rashi, this is my Vrish Rashi, this is my Gemini or Mithun Rashi, this is my Kark Rashi or Cancer, so on. Singh Rashi, Kanya Rashi, Tula Rashi, Vrishchik Rashi, and comes down to Sagittarius or Dhanu Rashi. So here Dhanu Rashi is my ascendant. It has been marked as AS. So this will be my ascendant. Now if I change the timing, let's say if I go 1 hour back. So now the ascendant comes out to be this. Uh, Scorpio becomes my ascendant. So this is my first house then, and this will be my 12th house. So first house, second house, third, fourth, fifth, like so on, and this comes out to be my 12th house. So something like this. So this is the concept of Bengali style, or mainly in eastern India, like Assam, Bengal. Mainly this type of casting technique is used to cast the horoscope. Okay, so any difficulty in understanding till now? Fine. Okay, good. Uh, so this was about Eastern India style, and this is a bit, you can say, Sri Lankan style of understanding. So let me make it Sagittarius sign, and let's see what happens. So anybody wants to interpret that how it has to be deciphered or seen? So now having explained three methods, North Indian, South Indian, and East Indian, anyone like to decipher this and how to interpret this? I would like you to volunteer and say, because now this has become self-explanatory. So please, Sitaram, Yash, or Apurv, you can unmute yourself or speak.
Hi, Sitaram here. This could be the clockwise interpretation.
Okay, clockwise. So you're saying like this. Uh, so let me understand. So this is what sign or what Rashi is this? Can you explain me? Or what house is this? Is it the first house, second house, or what is it? Okay, so yes, you're saying that this is my first house. Okay, so as ascendant is mentioned, this is my first house. Okay, I've understood that. But what is steady here? So, like I've explained that in the North Indian style, my houses remain steady, but my zodiac keeps on moving. But in South Indian and Eastern style, my actually zodiac remains fixed, but my houses keeps on moving. So how to interpret this? What is moving and what has been fixed here? Okay. So correct, yes, you mentioned it correct. That here also houses are fixed and rashis are moving. So as you can see, here marking hasn't been made. For this, you have to understand that which house is this, or actually where it has been placed. So Saturn currently we know that it is placed in Scorpio sign or Vrishchik Rashi. So this comes out to be my Vrishchik Rashi, and this is my Dhanu Rashi. Only by knowing this, but there has to be a certain marking only to understand that which Rashi is denoted by which one. So here in Sri Lankan style, you can see that they don't give much of priority to the sign or the zodiac. They only give priority to the houses. So the prediction or the understanding of the horoscope is only based on the houses, not on the basis of the zodiac in which the star or sorry, the planets are placed. So this is one thing that to be seen. So this is my first house, second, fourth, second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on till 12th house. So let me go back 1 hour before and explain you that what would have been. So see, the Saturn was previously here. Now it has moved to here. So Saturn, we know that it is in Scorpio or Vrishchik Rashi. So Vrishchik Rashi comes out to be my ascendant, and Saturn is placed in my ascendant. So this is how it is. So this is my first house, second, fourth, and so on. So like you can understand, they don't give much of priority to the zodiac in which the planets has been placed, only to the house in which these planets are placed. So this is how they interpret the horoscope. So like for example, if you can see that there are so many casting styles, why is it so that they have created it like that? Because according to other systems or other methodology like Eastern or South Indian, more priority is given to other techniques. For example, in North Indian style, as you can see, Rashis keeps on moving, but houses are fixed. So more priority is given to the houses in which they are placed. In South Indian style, you can see that zodiac in South Indian and as well in the Eastern style, you can see that zodiac remains fixed, but houses keeps on moving. So they give more emphasis to the zodiac in which this planet is placed. But in Sri Lanka, there is no importance given to the zodiac at all, only to the placement of the planet in which actually house it is placed. So this is all that we have here. So when I started learning astrology, I actually did it in the North Indian style. So it became actually comfortable to me, and I started reading all the things in North Indian style only because it actually made my life simple actually to actually understand that what would have been the effect of planet on other, or how to interpret a conjunction or to interpret a aspect. So that was quite easier for me in the North Indian style. So that is why I have been following that. But even though if it comes to interpreting the results in South Indian style or the Eastern style, even then I'm quite okay with that because I have a bit of practice on that. So I would say to all of you, if you have horoscope at your home, and if you want to find out that how it is, so I would first suggest you to go through the horoscope some of your relatives or family members, and to understand that what is the lagna and rashi, which in which zodiac or in which house the planets are placed. So try with some hands-on, try with some of the case studies yourself, so that will actually help you to understand better. So once you start taking that initiative, it will become easier for you as well. So for today's task, I would recommend you to go through at least some of your family members or your relative or some of your friends chart and understand that which planet is placed in which house. Fine. So any issues till now? Okay. Okay then. So one thing here. So these are the rashis and these are the symbol that are associated with it. So let me understand that. So these are the symbol and the lords. Now I'll ask one of you to actually tell which are the lords. So Sitaram, what is who is the lord of Aries or Mesh Rashi? Mars, correct. Apurv for Taurus. Okay, it is quite easy. Venus. Yes, Mars comes. Sorry, Venus comes before Mars. So the sequence will be like this: Mars, Venus, and what comes before Venus that will be placed here. Mercury, and then these two are for Moon and Sun. Remember this. And now the simple sequence continues: Mercury, Venus, then Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and Jupiter. So these are the sign and these are the lord. So one more thing that needs to be explained: planets and their exaltation. So you must have come across few of the terminologies like Ucha Rashi, Neech Rashi. So any idea what is that or what it is actually? When a planet become Uch Rashi or in Neech Rashi? No idea, Apurv. Okay. Jupiter, Saturn, and then Rahu and Ketu. Okay. So let me see. Apurv, saying when a planet is in a Rashi of its malefic planet, uh, yeah, it gets strengthened in Uch Rashi. Yeah. So every planet has a Uch Rashi and a Neech Rashi. So let me explain what is it. So Sun gets exalted in Aries. In Aries sign, it becomes Uch Rashi, or it is at the highest strength. Debilitation would be exactly when the Rashi which is exactly opposite to that. So that will be Libra. So in Libra, Sun becomes a Neech. So the exaltation means Uch and debilitation means Neech. So this will be the Uch Rashi and this will be the Neech Rashi. For Moon, Taurus is the Uch Rashi. And what would be the Neech Rashi? The sign exactly opposite to the Taurus. Check the chart here. Correct. Scorpio. Scorpio or Vrishchik Rashi. So Mercury is exalted in Virgo. So Mercury is the only planet which is exalted in its own sign. So you can see Virgo is owned by Mercury and it is exalted in its own sign. None of the other planet is exalted in the own sign. And it would be debilitated in exactly opposite. Correct, correct. So it's no brainer actually. This is Virgo. This is mentioned 7. Just add 6 to it. 6 plus 7, 13. 13 is Pisces. So Pisces. Venus is exalted in Pisces. And debilitated on Necha Rashi will be, this will be Virgo. Mars is exalted in Capricorn and debilitated in Cancer. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer and exalted in Cancer and debilitated in Capricorn. So this is exactly the opposite for both of them. You can see. Yeah, there is a logic for it. We will come to that also. Saturn is exalted in Libra and debilitated in Aries. And for Rahu and Ketu, there is some ambiguity. Some people say that it is exalted in Taurus or in Gemini. Some people say that it has a different opinion. Some are to actually in favor of Taurus, some are in favor of Gemini. So it depends from person to person. So what I've actually felt is in Gemini it will be exalted, and in Sagittarius it will be debilitated. And for Ketu it will be exactly opposite because both are actually 180-degree opposite to each other. So Sitaram, I have explained about the concept of Rahu and Ketu, that how it works. Uh, I think you must be knowing that how to actually uh, spot Rahu and Ketu in a horoscope and how to pinpoint. So as I mentioned earlier, that it is actually point, actually the ecliptic point. So where the path of revolution of moons uh, actually intersects with the ecliptic plane in which Earth is revolving around the Sun. So these are actually just 2 points. For Rahu, some mention that Taurus would be the sign of exaltation. Some mention it to be Gemini. I take it as Gemini. Or I believe that it is equally good in Taurus, uh, but as I am saying, there cannot be two signs in which a planet becomes exalted. So I'm taking it to be Gemini. So these are the list of exaltation and debilitation, and there is a reason to it why it is so. So that I will explain, and it will become much more clearer if I go through the houses, that which house denotes what. So let me do that. Now coming to this, that exaltation and debilitation sign, that sun is exalted in Aries. So let me tell you one thing. The signs are divided into their types. For example, if it is Aries, then it has a type. Type would be, I said, it would be of four. Like for example, fire. This Taurus would be of earth sign. Gemini would be, I think, let me, air type, yeah, air, and Cancer would be water. And this trend keeps on continuing. So this is how the cycle is: fire, then earth, then air, then water, then again fire, earth, air, and water, and so on. So the first fire sign that comes out is actually of Aries, and Sun would be strongest in that sign. So that is how it becomes the sign of exaltation for Sun. Similarly for others as well, for like Moon, Taurus is the exaltation sign for Moon. So what happens is, Moon is actually associated with water. The specific nature, or actually you can say the amount of water that you have in your body, is actually associated with Moon. High tides, low tides on Earth is actually associated with the position of Moon and Sun with respect to Earth, or the relative position with respect to Earth. So, and water is only steady when it is in some lake, or it has a grounding uh, around it. For example, if you have a lake that is surrounded by mountains or high landscapes, then that water would be steady. But if that water is flowing or ever moving, then that won't be steady. So moon is actually associated with your mind. It is actually the significator of your mind. Sun is actually for your soul. It actually also signifies your immunity, because how powerful your sun is, that shows that how powerful that pran shakti is there in within you, and how powerful you would be. So these are the most important thing according to me. Most astrologer won't agree to it, but I feel that sun and moon, that the immunity power and the soul and mind, these are the two most important thing in your life. So I consider that sun and moon are to be the most important planets among all of them. Especially coming out to now, exaltation sign, Jupiter gets exalted here. So you must all be knowing that Cancer is the fourth sign for uh, from the zodiac, and fourth sign is associated with mother. So Jupiter is actually your guru, your spiritual leader, or someone who has taught you something. And when you are born, your mother is your first teacher, and that is why, the reason being, Jupiter becomes exalted in the fourth sign, or in the sign of Cancer. So that is one of the reason why it happens in that sign. and then comes out to be Virgo. So Mercury is exalted here. One reason being Mercury exalted here is that Mercury is actually related to communication and actually make your speech, how you deliver your words. So that is all Mercury is responsible for. And sixth sign, or the Virgo sign, is the sixth from the ascendant. And as I said earlier, the sixth is actually the sign which actually shows your power to actually struggle for your, I would say, your job, your employment, and for that your speech or your ability to connect with others would be most important or most critical, most crucial among all your skills that you have. And for that reason, Mercury comes out to be becomes exalted in this sign, in the sixth sign. Libra is Saturn. So Saturn, so Mercury, if I mention here, it actually shows your skin, something at surface level. So anything at surface level, when you observe any object or anything, how it feels like, how the surface is actually, that is denoted by Mercury. And even if you go to an organization, the surface level is actually the management of that organization, the relationship manager. So when you go to a bank or something like that, first you interact with the relationship manager or the person who are there in the surface level. So that is why Mercury is considered to be your, something that is there in the surface level. Even in your body, it is considered to be your skin. So people having good skin or a glowing skin are expected to have better Mercury, and people who are having a skin infection or a skin related issue, they are expected to have weak Mercury or something which is wrong with their Mercury. Also, I would say management level. Saturn is exalted in Libra. So seventh sign is actually the sign of your business, your interaction. As I said, this is me, and this is something that I'm interacting with others. And Saturn is actually the lord of 10th or Scorpio. Saturn is actually considered to be the Karma Karak. So there is all Karakatva that is related with all the planets. For example, sun is the karak of the soul or immunity, moon is the karak of mind. It is also significator of your mother. Sun is also significator of your father. So actually, I hope uh, these are the things that you might have had a basic knowledge about it. So if I'm taking kundli of a man, then Venus is actually represented by his wife. And that is the reason that we have Libra sign in the seventh house, and seventh house is actually house of your marriage, actually your wife, your spouse. So for a man's chart, Venus is actually the significator of your wife, that how your wife would be, how beautiful would be, or how glamorous she would be, or exactly a representation of your spouse for a man. For a female, some has an interpretation that Mars is actually the significator of male part or the man part or the husband part in your in a wife's chart. Some are of the opinion that it is for Jupiter, that Jupiter actually signifies uh, your husband. What my opinion is, I think actually Mars is the significator for that. But yeah, even not a clear cut, I would say. In some of the horoscope I've seen that Jupiter comes out to be more prominent significator. In some I've seen that Mars coming out as a prominent significator. So that is a issue that it is always there. So I will come into in-depth details about it when I will be discussing a case study. So this is how it is. So Sagittarius, Scorpio, no. So here is Mars. So Mars, as I said, it is the most energetic. It actually shows your friendly nature. Actually, it is friendly nature. Actually, friendly nature. It is brothers, uh, and sister. You can say your courage, and actually also your commitment. So as I said, 10th house is actually the most important house of your life, and your courage, your commitment, that becomes more prominent. So that is the reason why Mars is said to be exalted in the 10th sign, in the sign of Scorpio. Mars is actually exalted here in the sign of Scorpio. And last is Venus. So one thing that I've mentioned earlier, that this is house is for your extravagance, your expenditure, uh, for all the expenses that you make in life. So one thing that after you have made some gains, you have made some income, then only you will be making some expenses. And from expensive items, the glamorous things in the world, that you start possessing, you start procuring. So those glamorous things, or those things which looks good, or have a glamorous appearances, are associated with Venus, and this is why Venus is actually considered to be the lord of 12th house, or it is actually considered to be exalted, not lord of 12th house, but I would say has a natural significance, or I would say it comes into the natural uh, feeling in the 12th house. So Venus has its highest capability in the 12th sign, that is Pisces. So this is how it has been defined. Sign of exaltation, and uh, debilitation would be the sign exactly opposite to it. So once you have understood the exaltation, debilitation won't be that much difficult. Regarding Rahu and Ketu, the third house, that is the house of Gemini. This would be the Gemini, and this would be the uh, Sagittarius. So Rahu is considered to be exalted here because it is for courage, and it is also for your self efforts. And there is one more concept in astrology, this third house, sixth house, 10th and 11th, these are called the Upacha house, or a house which actually I would say enhances your ability in life. So third house is for your efforts that you have made in life, the commitment that you have made. Sixth house is the employment or the work that you do, or if you are employed at certain organizations, that is denoted by sixth house. 10th house is actually denoted by the status or the respect that you have achieved in your society or in your life. And 11th house is actually the house which shows that how much you have gained out of it, out of all of these efforts, your social status, recognition. So these are actually houses that are associated with all your work, effort, everything, and that's why these houses are called Upache house, or something which actually uh, enhances your ability or motive. So one thing it is considered that Saturn, Rahu, Mars, and not Ketu. Mind you, not Ketu. And sometimes sun. Sometimes, not always. Sometime sun, and sun specifically in 10th and 11th. 10th and 11th only. It is considered that in these four houses, third, sixth, 10th, and 11th, these planets have highest capability of working. So let me mention 3, 6, 10, 11. So same thing. So in these four houses, These planet works extremely well. I've not seen a person if the Saturn, Rahu, and Mars are placed in these houses and they have achieved something less in life, or they haven't made a significant contribution towards their work or their employment. So these are some very good placement for Saturn, Rahu, and Mars. For Sun, 3 and 6, I wouldn't consider, because sixth house is also the house of disease, and Sun is the significator of immunity. And your immunity is only good when it is in your best house, that is your 10th or the 11th house. So that is why I consider best position for Sun is in 10th house. Okay, so this was a bit about the planets, their exaltation, about the types of chart that we have, the styles that we did today about North Indian, South Indian, East Indian, Sri Lankan, and so on. So, and this was about the nature of the. So, let me mention a few more things here as well. For Saturn, it is about Karma Karak, or actually your professional life mainly. So, any questions and anything till now? If no, then we are good to wrap up the session. Starting off. So let me explain this from the very beginning. So Sun is actually the representation of your soul, your Atma. It is actually called the Atma Karak, mainly the representation of your immunity, the how powerful is your immunity. That is actually associated with Sun. Sun is actually significant of your father as well. So that is one. Moon is for mother. So how strong your relationship is with your mother is, how your mind is. So your mental capacity is also seen from your moon. Your how your mental inclination is, that is seen. How mentally stable you are. Uh, do you have any mental disease or not? So these are the things that are associated with moon. Mercury is actually the surface level of everything. So after Sun, the first planet that comes is Mercury. So Mercury actually shows anything that is there on skin or anything on the surface. For an organization, I would say it would be the management, or the management people are actually the surface level of the organization. So when you go to an organization, these are the first people that you interact with. The laborers, the employees are interacted later on. So anything which is seen on the surface is actually denoted by Mercury. In our body, Mercury is actually the significator of our skin. So that is the first level. Venus is actually all the glamorous part in your life. It is also your genitals. So any issues with your genital is also associated with Venus. Extravagance, your uh, tendency to spend more, tendency to have a luxurious life, uh, and also I would say your wife. So wife is also seen from Venus. So anything that is associated with glamour and luxury is actually associated with Venus. And Venus as a normal is actually a significator of women. Mars, so Mars is actually, you know, uh, I would say the courageous part of you. The planet which gives you courage, which actually makes you more friendly towards the other, which actually makes you, I would say, more compatible, not compatible, but yeah, more interactive with others. So makes you more energetic. So that are these are the features of Mars. And also people who are associated with police, army, these are also work of Mars. So Mars is actually like most of you must have heard about uh, some Greek mythology or something. And there they consider that Mars is to be associated with wars. So here we always had the culture that Mars is associated with war and something which is actually violence, which leads to war. So athleticism, sportsman spirit, these are all things that are seen from Mars. So how athletic you are. Jupiter is as actually the wisdom. So Guru, and also I would say the wisdom that you have, that you possess in life. So it is the uh, planet which is actually significator of your wisdom, your knowledge, your actually progeny. Progeny is also seen from Jupiter, and then uh, your interaction with your teacher, that is also seen from Jupiter. So Jupiter in a way is actually very important because it actually uh, decide actually that how successful you will be in your life. So people with having good Jupiter will actually excel a lot in life because of the right wisdom and the right tendency that you have. And also people with good Jupiter, I've seen that they also tend to be very nice person. Most people that I've seen so far. Saturn is actually your karma karak. So what job you will be doing professionally, so that is actually the significator of your karma. And like I mentioned, in an organization, the surface level thing that you see is the skin, and the in-depth of anything that you see is Saturn. So for example, uh, in my body, if I consider, if my skin or the upper surface is my skin, then in depth or the arteries, veins, these are the things that are associated with Saturn, which are actually responsible by internal functioning of my body. One more thing, Jupiter is also associated in the body part. It is associated with liver. So anyone having a liver functioning disorder or something is actually that is because of Jupiter. So actually, Jupiter is the significator for liver most of the cases. Saturn is also so any kind of hard work that you do, persistent hard work, that is actually associated with Saturn. So and also Saturn maintains a cycle of karmic balance. So anything that you have done good in your previously or in your past times, that actually comes as a fruits or as a result in your Saturn dasha. So that is main significance of Saturn. So these are all the characteristics that are associated with planets. So Rahu and Ketu, I would say, they all are only nodal points, and their uh, main significance is, so it actually takes you towards material life. I would say materialistic, and Ketu is actually which takes you away from material life, that is spiritual life. So spirituality is mainly seen from Ketu. So Jupiter is actually good about wisdom, knowledge that you have acquired, and Ketu is about completely detaching from the material life and getting into a spiritual life or something which actually dissociates you completely from the materialistic life. That is actually nature of Ketu. And Rahu is something that is making you more materialistic, more engaged with material life, uh, more into that passion mode of enjoying the materialistic things. So that is the tendency of Rahu. So these are all mainly the nature of all the planets that I've discussed so far. So any more questions? Well, if only Rahu is strong, because see, so let me explain. So Yash has asked one question, that if a person is having a strong Rahu, will it be more materialistic? So making a conclusion and making a judgment only on the basis of one planet is the biggest crime of astrology. Never make that. For example, if you are saying that Rahu is stronger, if and I find out that Jupiter is even more stronger than Rahu, then what would be my conclusion? So never make a judgment based on a single planet. So let's say if I have a strong Rahu and a strong other planets as well, so what would be actually the conclusion would be that he's actually performing good is in materialistic life as well, but is also putting extra effort or the same kind of effort to actually enhance his knowledge. For example, Jupiter and Rahu both are good. So qualities of Rahu is also there. He's doing good materially, but also is doing in his personal life, in his wisdom, and the knowledge that he has acquired. So one rule of thumb would be never judge a planet or a horoscope just on the basis of one thing. Analyze the entire chart and then get into a conclusion. Yeah. So, which planet is associated with studying and practicing astrology? So, one thing, Saturn is the main for all the occult sciences that are associated. Occult sciences, like you can say tantric vidya, or you can say astrology is also something, and also things that are associated with in depth, for example engineering, and then marine science, then oil industry, and something like for Saturn I would say, then astrology also, then anything which gets into in-depth analysis of things, and also things like being a surgeon, things which are application oriented, and also topics like data science, statistics. These are also part of Saturn. But also I would say a single planet is only a 60 to 80% significator of that subject. Other roles also comes into picture, other planets. So it is actually the combination of all of them. So example, if you're gaining some high level wisdom or you're practicing astrology, then Jupiter also should have a good contribution in your horoscope. That has to be there. So Saturn is actually one thing, but Jupiter and other planets also plays good significant impact. And also regarding studying astrology or practicing astrology, apart from planet, eighth house is the most important. A person with a strong eighth house or eighth lord will be the person who will be practicing astrology or actually studying in depth, at least in depth, I would say. Because eighth house is also a house of persistent hard work, that you persist in a work for lifelong. Exaltation is one thing, but there are many more techniques also. For example, if let's say if Mars is in 10th house, be it any sign, be it Capricorn, be it exaltation or debilitation. But if Mars is placed in 10th house, Mars, that is one of the wonderful position for Mars to occupy. Mars is 10th house is considered to be, in most of the astrologers layman terms, they consider it to be Kul Deepak, or the person who would actually bring glory or fame to his family, to his entire clan. So that is actually the feature of houses. So not just considering the exaltation or debilitation, but also there are few planets that are very good, work very good in some of the houses. Here is Mars I have. uh, Another example is Moon. in ascendant is considered to be very good. Jupiter in ascendant is considered to be very good. Jupiter in Lagna or first house, Moon in first house, Saturn in third house is said to have so people, those who are entrepreneurs or start their own work, most of them have Saturn in the third house. Yes. So these are all the key things that you need to judge. Exaltation, debilitation, yeah, it is one of the factor I would say, but apart from that there are many more things that you need to check. Okay.